All right, so we're going to take this information. I just want you to hold on to it. The idea of this was just to get your juices flowing. What are some things you want to do next semester? What are some things you want to improve next semester? What are some things that can be tweaked next semester? Just start thinking about that. And I'm going to try to get back to my screen without making everyone really sick. All right. So today, David Parks was unable to join us, talking about building courses faster and how AI supports but doesn't replace instructor presence. That's why I'm here and David's not. But I really wanted to keep on with the spirit of what he was talking about, and really thinking about how AI can support but not replace what we're doing, but also help us build our courses faster. And I thought, well, I don't have a presenter. I could stand up here and I could talk to you for a while about that, but I also know that you all are doing really cool things in your classroom using AI. You're using AI to develop your courses. You're using different tools that I haven't even heard of. A lot of you have been the ones that have introduced me to things like Claude. That was David. Or Consensus. That was Sarah. You've all introduced me to new things as I talked to you. So I thought, let's share that information together. Let's crowdsource this information. And I think we're going to get a lot more stuff than if I were just to stand here up myself. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be talking about how we can revise our courses using AI, how we can build course content using AI, and how we can increase the speed of course design without sacrificing quality. Right, so we're going to be talking about that already. That's what we were already going to talk with David. We're going to talk with that. I'm crowdsourcing that information today. So here's the outline. So what I want us to do, we've already spent some time exploring one thing about our course that needs to be revised. We're now going to spend some time exploring, available AI tools and their strengths in course design, just to kind of get again, connecting what we are already thinking about to do and revising our course. Now, how can we connect that to some tools that are out there? And maybe there's some tools that we aren't familiar with. Then we're going to do a hands-on workshop where I want you to start using those tools right here in-house and start trying to improve your course, maybe using the thing that you just identified, using the AI tool that we've been talking about. Maybe something you haven't tried before. Then we're going to share that together with a different partner because I want us to share these ideas and kind of bounce them off with somebody else. So for those of you online, I will be pairing you up. For those of you in the house, it's a little easier. And then we're going to come back together as a group and discuss some of those things that we found because I think I'm going to learn something and I'm sure you are as well. So we've already been talking about AI a lot over the last year and a half at Active Teaching Lab. We've been talking about kind of really three main topics: the evolution of AI in teaching, from concerns to implementation. We've been looking at different ways that that AI is changing teaching, is adapting, changing what we are doing. So we've been looking at those in these sessions. They're all available for those of you online who want to come back and look at that. We've looked at different strategies from colleagues. So we've looked at those a number of times in thinking about how to boost student engagement, how to create assessments, multiple choice courses, assessments. I've been tinkering about how to create using Python and ChatGPT, how to import those directly into Canvas. We've been looking at different ways that we can create case studies. We've looked at ways that you can create art or basically even offload students' cognitive load to things that are more relevant to the learning objectives. And then we've also looked at some of the strengths and weaknesses of AI. We even talked to students a year ago this month about their perspectives on AI. So we've already been talking about that. We've been thinking about that. Now, what I'm curious about, I'm just going to stop sharing there, is I'm kind of curious, go back to my slide here. Oops, to get the right one. I'm curious to think about what are the best tools, though? What are the tools that we've been using that we found were really the best for the trade? So let's go back to this. And for those of you in-house, you can feel free to shout them out. But we've been thinking about different ways that AI has been improving, has been helping. But what are the tools that you have been using to improve your courses? What AI tools have you been using for your courses in online or even just in your research? And I'm going to type these out a little bit for those of you in house, and for those of you online, feel free to just take a line and start typing your stuff in. What about in here? So go to tab 2 for those of you online in that handout, and then just start typing in. Yeah.
So in my in the first year writing course I'm developing, I used I really enjoy Claude, and I use it to um, when with the learning objectives I have and the assessments, the major assessments we have, I use it sometimes to like basically cross-reference and make sure that the language I'm using in the learning objectives and the assessment like work together in a way that's
Oh.
understandable to the students. So it's nice for like revising some of the language in some of those assessments to make sure it like more explicitly connects to the learning objectives.
And that the language is right.
Yeah.
Right. That's really good. Connie Schroeder talks about that a lot of time in like Educators Institute. I remember last semester, but just in other places that, it's really important to make sure that we're using consistent language. We always want to use synonyms because it seems better writing, but sometimes that's going to break the students like, okay, how does this word relate to this word? Well, they're a synonym. We just try to be creative, but no, it's really confusing. How do we align that? That's really good. That's because that's a kind of a basic structure. Like, are these aligned? It's kind of just basic one-to-one. They do that really well. And sometimes for us, it's like, oh, that's so boring.
Yeah.
Anybody else? That's a really good one. Yeah.
I've been playing around a little bit with Perplexity to come up with examples for when I'm teaching so students can, I teach communication so they can hear and see.
So what do you mean?
Like I'll go into Perplexity and I'll ask them for examples of a conflict or examples of transformational leadership, or instead of using YouTube, I've been trying to play with Perplexity. And I also use Google Gemini for images.
That's what Perplexity is.
It's an AI tool, but it draws from the whole internet.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's instead of like ChatGPT is drawing from a series of tokens. Perplexity is taking those tokens, but also going online and looking for the sources.
So it's current.
Yeah. So it's really current, and then it gives you nice summaries, but they all have like footnotes. Right. So they have like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you go like, oh, this is a really interesting sentence. I'm going to click on number 4. Oh, that's the website that it's connected to. And so it gives you a lot better understanding of where it's pulling that information, but it's also giving you, then you have resources to go in and dive deeper. It's sort of like when I always talk to students about Wikipedia, it's like, oh, Wikipedia is a great place to start. You can't really use it, but they have good sources. So check those sources out. And that's really helpful that way as well. Or images, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put images. Okay, all right. Do you use the fancy version of Gemini or like the free version?
Everything's got to be free.
Everyone's got to be free.
Value driven.
Value driven. Oh, I love that. It seems right. It's a nice
That's
corporate.
better than cheap.
Yeah. Anybody else? Nobody's been using AI?
I use Adobe Firefly.
Oh,
After the session we had last month,
yeah.
it helped me in creating the kind of images I want for my slides. And I could like tweak it whichever way I wanted.
Oh, right. Okay, Firefly. And creating images for
Images for my slides.
Oops. Right there. All right, Firefly, Adobe Firefly. Awesome. Yeah, it is some really powerful stuff on Adobe Firefly, definitely. And we have an access to that for free through the license. So we're creating images. We can really you can edit those images. You can take a stock image, you can circle what you want to change. And if you look at last month's recording, which I haven't got up, sorry, it will allow you to, like I was changing what clothes Abraham Lincoln was wearing in a shirt in a sitting there. Yeah.
Then another amazing thing about Adobe Firefly, you can convert PDF docs to Word doc and edit whatever information. So I found that helpful for some of my assignments because I teach online.
Yeah.
And I got the assignment materials from a colleague that taught in person. So the wordings, yes, were different. So I was able to convert that PDF document to Word and then.
Really? I would have never thought to, but that's really cool to hear. Thank you very much. So she was using that. I'll put that in there as well. So PDF, sometimes you get a PDF and you want to convert it to Word.
Word or whatever format, PowerPoint, whatever.
Adobe Firefly. Awesome. So anybody, one more. I see some online as well, but is anyone else in the house? Or anybody online would like to share verbally what they've written with words? I'm looking to the sky, but
I use ChatGPT to do like, I have like a movie club.
Oh,
I use it to do like a movie guide, so to create like a plot summary and explain the character, describe who the characters are. Pull some key vocabulary and idioms, that we can talk about beforehand. Um, Stuff like that. Discussion questions, comprehension questions. Comprehension questions aren't great because they don't go for the time, the time frame of the film that I want them for.
Right.
That hasn't always matched up very well.
right.
But for the other things, it works pretty well.
And this is for our language, right?
Has anybody used Curipod?
What the?
So I typed in best AI tools for teachers, and Canva is the first one that comes up. Canva will do some really cool images, but Curipod for creating lessons and adding gamification. I haven't heard of that one.
That's the wrong one. Okay. Curipod.
Curipod.
This one.
Curipod.
All right. So CURIPOD.com. I'll put that in the chat.
I have no idea if it's any good. It just comes up in the top tools.
Don't know if it's good, but something again to play with. All right. And then I see online, let's look. So Gina she uses Gemini to research and prep for class. To remind me what I forgot, summarizing topics I need to know more about. Critically assess the AI to answer geological questions or natural events. Susan, you have your hand up. Please feel free to join.
Yeah, I do. So I have a new assignment. I'll have to fill you in later, but I'm having students create a persuasive argument, argue back and forth with ChatGPT. This one is related to regulation of herbal and food supplements. So it's brand new and it replaces a much more academic answer these questions kinds of paper. And I think it's going to be more real world about the kind of conversations people really have with others about these kinds of things. And then this I think is kind of fun. In addition to the rubric, I like to give students an analogy of what mastery or exceptional performance is versus competent or okay performance. And you get some really good examples like, a competent cook will follow the recipe, but a masterful chef will, I'm paraphrasing, do their own thing. And it's really fun. And it puts the student, it gives them a little bit of a more real world example of what they should be striving to do in addition to the, detail of the rubric. So I like that. And I can't think of those as well myself. So I use AI to help me with that.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I see GPT a lot. I see Liner AI from Will, used in library instruction for graduate public health course. Demo activity where students are prompted Liner. Can you talk a little bit about Liner AI, what that is?
Yeah, I could talk about that. Yeah. Liner has two kind of modes. It has a general mode where it finds like federal sources and also some news articles. And then it has a scholarly mode where it the scholar mode finds like academic articles.
Okay.
And with this public health course that I do library instruction for their students kind of public policy research, they need to be kind of using a combination of like federal data and scholarly research. So I kind of split the class where like half were using the general mode and half were using kind of scholar mode, and they were kind of like pairing their prompts and kind of just brainstorming. I found with kind of the experimenting I've done with Liner and seeing students use it's pretty good at finding both recent scholarly papers and like federal kind of data set sources that are reliable and related to the prompt that you give it.
Very cool. Thank you, Will, so much. I had never heard of that one, so I'm eager to check that one out. That's not one on the usual suspects list. These are all really good. I appreciate everybody's participation with this. I'm going to share a few of my own, though they're all pretty much the usual suspects. Let's see, here we go. Slideshow. So here's my list and kind of why and how I use them. So I use Copilot because one, this is really cool with our UWM login. There's security protection already in place. So when if you're concerned about it recording your data and using it for training, it's not doing that when you're logging in with UWM. Very soon, hopefully very soon, they're going to be announcing it's FERPA compliance. They're still testing that. So being able to use that with even a little bit more secure data, because again, it's behind our UWM login and part of our enterprise suite. That's still coming. You'll hear more about that hopefully shortly. That's a good place to start, especially if you're looking at things like you want to make your images accessible so you can have some alt text, so you can put your image on Claude, describe this for me, and then it'll just create that alt text for you. So again, it's good at basic stuff and a good place to start. Claude or Copilot. Claude AI is what I've kind of been pushing ChatGPT to the side a bit for me. I've been using that more because I really love its expansive answers. So I ask it a question and it's anticipated. So I'll maybe put a lot of other data in and it kind of understands what I'm trying to do. And I may not be describing it very well, but it takes that next step and gives me that material that I didn't know to ask for. So I really like Claude for that. It's really well-rounded and versatile. It's also great for creating. I like it for creating case studies and also for code as well, which has been really good on that. ChatGPT, I like that one as well. It is well-rounded, versatile. It's specific and sticks to the facts. It's good at running code and good at analysis, but sometimes it doesn't take that next step for me. So again, just depends on my use case that day. I do pay for both of these. I am value driven as well, but I really like the ease of Claude. So maybe not as value driven as Sarah. Perplexity, we've already talked about that a little bit. That is really cool. It connects basically like ChatGPT connecting to the web and really giving you a lot of outlines. Google is doing that increasingly as well, because I've been reading the newspaper and Google's market share of search has declined from 99.9%. It's been going down as people have been just going to AI or even TikTok to search for things or what they're interested in. So Google has been upping its game as well. So if you go to Google, you'll see an AI summary with links to websites as well. So it's kind of trying to do the same thing as Perplexity, but Perplexity is built around that idea and does it better. Consensus, I think we just briefly touched upon that. It is like that Liner AI. So I haven't checked out the comparison, but Consensus is really focused on academic sources. So when you ask it questions, it's going to privilege academic works that it has connections to, sort of like Google Academics, like that, if you were using that before. That's Consensus and what it's good at. JSTOR is rolling out an AI tool. I never know if it's live or still in beta, but it is one that's soon coming. If you need some help getting access to that, I can actually talk to JSTOR. I've been working with them. They're willing to give some beta testing tools. It's really good at helping you connect sources to your work to primary sources. And it also does a really good job of summarizing material as well. It's been getting much better. It's AI. I've been trying to throw historiography, like high level historiography at it. And it's able to decipher between the topic and what the main argument is. And the dialogue that is going on between historians, which is really cool. I wasn't able to do that in April. So that's some of the tools right there. So what I want us to do now is I want us to spend, I think we're gonna probably have to skip the pair share a bit, but I want us to take some time, and I want you already have worked through a problem. You've identified a problem with your course. Take that problem. It may seem overly ambitious, but go to an AI tool. We just talked about a number of AI tools, and we talked about a number of strategies that people are using AI. Try to take your problem and use an AI tool to solve it, right? That's what we want to do. I want us to try to think of ways that we can force AI to do something that maybe you didn't think was possible before. Put in even your objective, like, hey, this is what I was going to do. Throw that into Claude, throw that into ChatGPT, see what happens. Throw it into Gemini, see what happens, see what it comes up with. Ask it for help, see what it does. So that's our mission for the next 15 minutes. But what I want us to do then is go back to that collaborative document. So I'm going to click on tabs. I'm going to open it up to the tab 3, the work time. And you're going to see right here, there's a little worksheet. Use it, don't use it. This is just to help you guide the process, right? That's all it is meant for. If you put stuff in here, that's great, because then we can share that and kind of collaborate together and see what's the cool things that you are doing, because that's really important. Find a box. There's 40 of them. There's a lot. Just copy and paste makes it really easy for me to do. Take a box, put your name if you'd like. You don't have to. And then just talk about your course development. What specific thing you want to do. You can copy and paste what you already typed up. What AI tool are you going to use? What's your prompt strategy? So what's your initial prompt? How did you refine it? Which prompts prove most effective? Look at results and refinement. What useful content or ideas did the AI generate? And think about, your summary. When we get towards the end, I'm going to give you a little heads up. What did you achieve at the end of 20 minutes? And what was your next steps for implementing? You don't have to fill out this box, but your goal is to make steps, to make striving, a movement towards solving the problem that you have identified already in your course and seeing how AI can help you with that. And maybe the answer is AI can't, but then you know that too, which is a useful option. All right, so that's what we're going to go at right now. Take a box, claim it, go to an AI tool of your choice, start solving, working on your problem. So when I've been using AI to really adapt lately, it's been a lot of quizzing. As I was talking with Brooke about, I hate making multiple choice questions, true or false questions. It sucks the life out of me to make sure it's at the right level, make sure that I have the right content in. And so I've just been, pumping data into Claude and then getting multiple choice questions that are much better than I could create. And I usually ask it for like 10 or 20 of them, and then I select the best ones because it usually gives me a bunch of duds as well. So
What do you mean by pumping data?
So I'll take open source sites that I go to. Usually they're government sites. It's a history course. So I'll take a government site that's about like Rosa Parks. So I'll put everything in there that I was going to have the students read about Rosa Parks, put that into Claude and say, make 10 multiple choice questions about Rosa Parks that connects to the earlier document I just uploaded about Martin Luther King Jr. So if it's like a civil rights course. So it'll take those and it'll be able to compare the two documents and make multiple choice questions, not just about one document, but about the student's understanding of both of those in relation.
When you say put it all in, it's like press Control A for a 30-page document, and then
I haven't done 30-page, but it's been shorter what I put in. But Claude will ingest quite a bit. I haven't quite reached its limit yet. I mean, at least like a functional limit where the stuff that I'm sure you could find a bigger document and pump that in, but the material I've used that I've assigned, this is for a 100 level history class. The material I've used, it has not had any problems doing that. Because it usually what you'll see Claude do, it'll take a document, it'll put it in it's like a little basket and then connect your prompt to that. So it's kind of works a little bit different than ChatGPT where it puts everything into the prompt. So that's just how I've been using it to improve my courses. What have you all been doing?
I was gonna say about Claude.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the free version, but I have the paid version. The paid version will take documents up to 5 megabytes. So it's pretty, and then you can do for each question you ask, you can do up to 5 of those documents. So it takes a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I've also been finding as well that I've had really, really long conversations with Claude. Like they go on a long time, and it's able to reference back to what I've said earlier to use that as a training tool. It's like, okay, this is the entire form that I want you to reference. Now I'm going to ask questions that will be based off of that form that'll be trying to do this end. Like, okay, I got this.
Yeah. And another reason I like Claude, because if the conversation goes too long, it'll basically tell you
Oh, does it?
It'll basically say there's just so much information here that it's not going to be useful anymore.
I just stare and see it go off the rails a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't quite, but I should push it a little bit harder. So no, good. What have we been finding? What have we been using? What did you see as you're experimenting today? Yes.
I just use Claude to take a reading that we use in one of our classes and have it identify, because I teach English for academic purposes, intro to college writing. And one of our goals is to help them develop their vocabulary while they're doing that. And so I asked to identify key terms from the text it shows a level for the reader,
Like a reading level.
for a student at this level,
Okay.
right, that they should know. And And I gave the definition and the sentence in the text. And then I asked it to create comprehension questions and a summary and a writing assignment or short writing assignment and pre-discussion questions and a rubric. And then I asked it to change the rubric to a table format, which I didn't know Claude could do because I haven't seen ChatGPT do that. I haven't tried it recently with ChatGPT. It made it into a table, a rubric into a table.
So it did all you asked, pre-discussion, discussion,
Mhm.
questions afterwards, a
I
rubric
did all that in 7 minutes.
in 7 minutes. So you got done in 7 minutes with like a day, right?
Right.
At least of
Yeah.
hard work. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Thank you very much. That's really cool.
Cool.
Anybody else? I see some good stuff online. Here I see Anna. I got Claude AI to generate a worksheet, including a table in a downloadable document format. Which document format was that, Anna? Could you just put that in the chat? I think it would need a lot of editing or more input to make it usable. So I don't know if it'd be really save me time in the long run, but it'd be could helpful if I was stuck. Oh yeah, so brainstorming. That's really good. Thank you very much, Anna, and giving us some of the limitations of that as well. Sometimes I've found that it just gets me over that hump of a blank sheet of paper and I put some notes in there and it gives me something a little bit better. Like, oh, that's not what I was looking for, but they phrase my sentence in such a way that it sparks an idea and then I go back. It's really like collaborating with somebody, I found. Like if I treat it like not as somebody doing the work for me, but as a collaborator, as somebody like as an intern or maybe a colleague that can help me brainstorm ideas, I get a lot more traction out of it than just do this work for me, AI. It's more like, hey, I'm going to collaborate, figure out what we can learn together. I see some great stuff online. And if you could just put the document type, like if it's the CSV or whatever it is you wanted. I'm seeing some really cool things online. So please check those out for those of you able to do so. You have some really good material. Please visit this document again. I kind of meant this for everybody. And so please do check this out. If you have stuff that you think of, please come back and edit it. Add some more material to it. I'd really welcome that. This will be available to you. The handout, again, it has links to the handout itself, which is kind of self-referential. But the second QR code will bring you back to this Google Doc or the bit.ly. You can use that as well. But that brings us really to the close of today. Oh, I see one more comment before we just start wrapping things up. It looks like it's a markdown file. It'd be more helpful if it was a structured format rather than only allowing copy paste. That's awesome. Great.